Welcome all to Keegan News. Today we're covering a speech scheduled to start right about now regarding Keegan's fascist policies he intends to bring to America when he wins the election. His opposition, John Communist, is not attending this event. John Communist supports a communist ideology, planning a fully democratic nation through capitalism into socialism until society can function without a government at all. Currently, the United States government is a constitutional republic, where the people vote to influence electors to bring people into the government, where they then create legislation, determine if that legislation is in line or against the Constitution, and then finally bring it into everyday life. This style of government begins in ancient Rome, where it was used, and then in the Enlightenment, people modernized it, and then it was brought into the United States after delegates mixed John Locke's ideas of life, liberty, and property into the Constitution after the Articles of Confederation were too weak to govern the states because they were too independent to function together. Keegan intends to push more power into the government, into himself, taking a sort of Thomas Hobbes Leviathan sort of approach to government with this unquestionable power. Let's see what he has to say at his speech. Over to you, Colin.
Colin here, and today I'm on the scene for Mr. Sanderson and the future of America.
Hello, my Americans. Today I'll be going over my policies and what I plan to be doing once I get into presidency. For my first policy as U.S. President, I plan on removing the judicial branch. Honestly, I never even liked them anyways. They're always go around preventing me from getting work done and improving the country, calling me unconstitutional, whatever that means, but they themselves are not even in the Constitution, so what gives them the right to say that? Anyways, I think most Americans wouldn't care if they got removed, so I'm just going to get rid of them.
Wow, that's a beautiful idea. However, it does seem a bit challenging. The judicial branch really only even gained power when that John Marshall guy started taking over things.
I'd like to point out one small error here with Mr. Sanderson's points. He stated the judicial branch is not inside the Constitution, but that is a fundamentally wrong statement. The judicial branch does appear inside the Constitution, but it isn't given a very good way of defining its powers and capabilities. As said, John Marshall established ideas of judicial review, which allowed the judicial branch to cover over legislation and executive orders, determining them unconstitutional or falling in line with the Constitution. Rarely, the judicial branch listens to court cases that appeal to the Supreme Court before the panel of justices that have to deal with those constitutional rights.
For my next policy, I plan on continuing this government reform. As many people know, the legislative branch is slow, ineffective, and honestly outdated. So I plan on completely removing the House of Representatives. It has way too many members, and just takes too much time and adds way too much time to the whole process.
Wow, what an interesting take, Mr. Sanderson. The legislative branch is split into two houses. We have the Senate and then the House of Representatives. These two houses then have the people inside of them split into different committees, where those committees make specific laws based on those committees.
The Senate has 2 senators per state, and the House of Representatives is based entirely on the state population. When passing legislation, the majority of both houses need to approve before it is signed or vetoed by the president. The legislative branch also has the capability of appointing or removing people that are appointed by the president, such as justices or cabinet members.
And for my final policy, the executive branch, which I will be head of, will now be in control of everything in the United States. So this would remove needless discussion and allow me to fully exert my power and create a perfect America.
Wise words, Mr. Sanderson. However, just one person running the executive branch would be quite difficult, and the bureaucracy is there just to help with that issue.
The bureaucracy deals with most of the political things that impact our daily lives. They carry out laws and executive orders and other forms of legislation that happen in the government. The bureaucracy is hired by the government, not elected by the people, and the people inside the bureaucracy are not allowed to function based on their own political bias. Next, we have a beat on the streets interviewing people about their civil rights and how they think they're going to be impacted by Keegan's reign. Civil rights were first made when the Bill of Rights was added to the Constitution to allow for full ratification. Since then, other amendments were made, adding to these rights that the people now hold. Let's see what the people have to say. Over to you, Abid.
Hello. So we're out here in the city, and we're just going to interview some people about Keegan as the autocratic ruler of America. Oh, perfect. Looks like we have someone right here.
Oh, hello.
Well, my first question is, how would you feel about Keegan Sanderson as an autocratic ruler of America?
I remember Keegan back in the days when I lived in KEEGALERT, man. I personally think that he's honestly a great ruler. For me, I have no complaints. I'm living a good life, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Our second question is, how would that affect your civil liberties? His policies on your rights.
I'd say that my rights really haven't been affected, but
He's
I
bringing
mean-
in hope.
yeah, he's bringing in hope for me and my family.
I've been cruising around the streets and I found this young fellow right here. Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
All
How
right,
are you?
great. So, I'm doing great, thank you. So what do you think about Keegan as the autocratic ruler of America? And on top of that, how do you think your civil liberties will be affected by this?
Keegan Sanderson will make this country better. I love that guy. He's so awesome. Who needs rights when Keegan is president? I love him so much that now it's time for commercials.
Keegan Sanderson is dangerous. If he is voted into office, citizens will lose rights, freedoms, and America as we know it. Luckily, John Communist is here to help us with the Sanderson threat. He will give you more rights and freedoms until we all live together as friends and family.
I'm John Communist, and I approve this message.
Keegan Sanderson is the president that we need. He will lower taxes, food prices, everything at all costs. He will help America be good again by his amazing power and control. Vote Keegan Sanderson. One leader, one vision, one man to do it all.
My name is Keegan Sanderson, and I approve this message.
Welcome back, folks, to Keegan News. After that break, it's clear we need to address media and bias. All media is political in the sense if it influences you or gives you information about the government. Campaign media specifically uses keywords to appeal to audiences, getting the vote to go to that specific candidate. It is important to note bias, however. Bias is everywhere when information is changed, not covered, or intentionally misquoted to support a perspective. With bias, it's hard to find objective truth about the government to get accurate information. As a voter, strive to find truth. Watch Keegan News. Thank you for tuning in.